superheroes to westerns, this episode was fun. I said that hesitantly. I only said that hesitantly because I didn't know if that was the word I wanted to use to describe it. Because a lot happened. It was like, is it weird to say it was kind of joyous, even though it was very like duplicitous in nature for some of the characters?
Yeah, the energy was a little different. I think this is the first episode not directed by Larry Tang, so maybe that had something to do with it. But the writing felt a little bit more punchy. This episode to me felt the most like CW than any of the previous episodes, which I both loved and was like, "Ooh, I wonder if this is the new tone." I don't know how much it'll fit with each episode, but I loved all of the new dynamics and the new like the lighter moments that were in this episode, like everything that happened between Abby and Hoyt and their little road trip and lakeside swim session. It was there was a lot going on.
There was a lot. Sorry, they paired everybody up, which was nice. And with pairs that like are expected, but also that we haven't spent that much time exploring their relationship dynamics. And we got a new character, Teresa.
It definitely did the most as far as maybe being an ensemble show goes. We got new characters, but we also learned more about the old characters. And I feel like we can't talk about dynamics and groupings and everything without getting into the big cliffhanger from the episode before, which was we now have Kit as part of the gang. And that was very like, get the band together. It was, I agree, it felt it was a familiar kind of approach to like bringing the dynamics together. But I am very thankful they didn't go with the thing that we were fearful of, and it was that they'd come up with an excuse to, oh, I have a gun in my cupboard because it's a dangerous place in Independence. They went with it. They finally changed the dynamic. I will say the only thing I'm slightly disappointed with it, that a lot of the explanation took place off screen when Abby was like, and then we'll let you meet with the rest of them. And Kate turns around and goes, we, and then it just cuts and she's with the gang already, established part of the dynamic. I feel like, considering we know Kate's such an important character with important ties outside of Independence, it would have been a little cool if we had gotten to see them all like connect for the first time. But I mean, the scene did what it was supposed to do. I love the fact that Kate had absolutely no problem throwing shade at Hoyt multiple times throughout that conversation. And then she was like, nobody get arrested. And then everybody just looks at Hoyt and he's like, why are you all looking at me? The dynamics were golden. And again, that was just kind of the first part of the episode because everybody went off in their own directions. But I love our little like quartet of heroes here, and I can't wait to see how it goes.
It seems like Kate got more out of that conversation with Abby than Abby might have gotten in terms of an explanation for things. Because as soon as Abby heard that she was a Pinkerton agent, she was singing like a bird. Like she told Kate everything, she held nothing back. And Hoyt was just like, excuse you, why my business too? But it is interesting to see Kate amongst this group and how kind of resigned she was to how much she was going to have to lean into it. She's like, nah, I'm the agent. Like, we're going to do things my way. And then things didn't pan out the way that she thought they would. And so it's like, okay, I guess this is a group effort. Circle around the table, we're going to have a discussion.
Yeah.
So that was wonderful. There was also, the stakes seemed to be not necessarily higher, but different than I had once thought. It was interesting. Like, we got some insight into Tom as well. I did not expect him to have been a feral child in an asylum. That was a revelation.
Yeah, I feel like that dynamic he had with Teresa was one of the more interesting parts of the episode, because I didn't really know what kind of dynamic it was. She was quite, I don't want to say mean, but he did what he was told when she was around. And is she the one pulling the strings all along? I feel like it was a very important episode as far as Tom goes. A lot of the rest of it felt somewhat episodic, but this felt like it'll definitely benefit the greater story going forward. Because yes, he is definitely the villain of the piece, but there is a lot of things that maybe turned him into the villain of the piece. And I feel like we'll learn more about him as it goes on.
There were a lot of developments with him because we see his like dynamic with this new character, his family member, and then we see how he flips the script and buys Hagen's. He under duress, Hagen is like, I'm out of here. And then Kate's whole diss track, which was incredible. Yeah. Queen of Pop of Independence.
Yes.
But then he helps Kai. And I was like, okay, thank you for helping Kai out of that jam. That was a sticky situation. But then he unwillingly, Kai now has made a deal with the devil. Like he owes Tom a favor, which he's definitely going to cash in on, and it's definitely not going to be something Kai wants to do. But I think Kai too, learning more about him and where he came from, what he's done, what he's been hiding, was another revelation that I was like, huh, I thought you were just a kind little guy, just making food.
But apparently we've killed somebody. Well, multiple somebodies. It's interesting. I don't remember the name of the family that he apparently has upset.
I don't remember either.
But I was like, ooh, why does it sound like a gang family? Why does it sound like you could not go back to that town ever again? And that he was willing to kill that man after his exploitation, being exploited like that, and then that man trying to come back and exploit him again. And so the way that Tom walks in, and how that scene wraps up, I'm like, I too was grateful. But at the end, I was like, dang, now Kai's isolated from everybody else. He's the lone member, besides Gus, of this team. So Tom has Gus and Kai, and Abby has everybody else. And no one is, Tom might be aware of what Abby's up to, unclear. But they're playing a very dangerous game. And Abby's group is sort of endeared to her. And Tom's group is there by obligation. Like, there's no friends for Tom. Yeah.
I feel like that could be the most intriguing scene or like dynamic going forward, because we learn, it was in episode 2 that our heroes, that's what I'll call them, who there are now 4 of them, kind of set up a base of operations in Kai's place. They were kind of like talking strategies, what they're going to do next there. And now we know Kai, as Reed said, has made a deal with the devil. What will that deal look like? Will he be his man on the inside? Will he ask him to find out more for him? Will Kai come across this information? Because Kai very much should be part, because we saw how quickly Kate became part of the heroes. I feel like Kai should very much be part of that group as well, especially since he's basically renting out his place for them to be their bat cave, so to speak. So how will that play into it going forward? Will Kai learn something he shouldn't have? Will they say, yeah, you're part of our team, and then find out he's not? I feel like Kai's a good person that will do the thing and the right thing in the long run, but I think it's going to be a very interesting journey watching him get there.
He'll probably be a double agent and take information back to probably Kate. I think he likes Kate the most.
He does. He got 2 cheek kisses this episode, and he was very happy about it. They're adorable. I like them. I don't think, I mean, push come to shove, he is going to choose Kate, but I do wonder how long it's going to take before the group realizes something's not quite right with Kai, unless he just starts saying something come in the following episode and explains he's been blackmailed by Tom, which seems to be the name of the game for Tom. I do like, though, that as sad as Kate's scene with Hagen was, I like the dichotomy of like their conversation where she thinks that he's a coward, and that he's simply running, and actually he loves you so much and wants to protect you that he gave up Hagen, like his own business, to make sure that you didn't die. Or I don't think he knows she's a federal agent, but clearly he feels a lot for her. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, your secret dad is leaving and now you're mad at him and he won't know, like, you don't know what he did for you. But that hat sequence, when she puts it on and she stands in front of the mirror and her anger kind of falls away as she looks at herself in the mirror, great. It was wonderful.
I love that dynamic, because he very much struck you as a rich, powerful businessman. And in the end, that's what she thought he was. And he was just moving on to the next part of his life as a rich person. But we learned so much up in this episode that there was so much more to him than that, because he has had that kind of playful dynamic with Kate, and that like, are you just like humoring her because she's done so good? No, but he actually genuinely does care about her, and he clearly doesn't know how well she can look after herself because he doesn't know the whole story. But again, the secrets played into that beautifully, but also just the fact that we got to learn more about Hagen as well. I assume that's the last we'll see of him, at least for now. I hope they get the chance to patch up their relationship at some point. But yeah, that scene, it worked wonders as far as character goes for both of them. So because you saw how much she cared about the people, and he did too, but he felt he was forced into that position. Such a powerful scene for, again, an episode that also had some episodic qualities about it. I felt like that's the scene that'll stay with me.
Last thoughts.
Great episode.
Great episode as well. Loved Kate, the vocals, the Charleston movements, the song, the performance, everything. What a moment.
Yes. Standout moment of the episode. And we have some new romantic dynamics too. Though Callie and Lucia. Callie and Lucia's dynamic was interesting. They're very soft. I like them. They're probably not gonna become anything because she's very much into Hoyt, but I like their relationship. And Hoyt is trying to run away from the feelings that's sparking between him and Abby, which is interesting. But their lake pond, whatever that was. I was like, Abby is steadily moving out of grief and noticing the man around her. So
She's like, YOLO.
Yeah, she was.